Yo, I'm sharing everything, bro.
Hey, what's
They,
going on, y'all?
they can
Tech
see me
Nerd.
and you, bro.
Very good. Very good.
Yes.
Excellent.
What are we looking at tonight, bro?
Well. Interesting evening for BTC here. We saw
Mm,
we had a we had a touch right on supply there. We've had a really nice run directly from demand to supply. And I remember a couple of weeks ago talking to our guys saying that where we had entered not on leverage but on spot, we had picked some up at 8.8 there with the anticipation of I guess of seeing things consolidate within this region. And we obviously had a run back up towards that 23 fib when we saw this sort of formation. And we look for this formation, we talk about it every single week. We talk about M tops, like M tops and W bottoms, where we form that little W bottom. I was admittedly from 9250, I was short.
mm.
And I cut that short pretty quick once we started running up. And then this was where things started to get really interesting, where we retested that downtrend line, that overall macro downtrend line that we've spoken about quite a number of times, as we did here. But I didn't necessarily expect this run up so aggressively. But when we did run up, we had this big wick, and then we had this secondary sort of bearish candle. I wasn't too confident of a continuation to the upside. And as we said to the guys, or as I said to the guys inside Discord, I said, if we cannot hold confidently above 10.3, then it wasn't going to be looking good for the Bulls. And then what I also said from there is that I said we really needed to hold 9.8 if we weren't going to hold 10.3. Otherwise, it was going to look really grim for the Bulls rather. We can see our Fibonacci line, which admittedly has been now drawn up, but
Yeah.
that 9899 level, which was the sort of the 9.8 level that I was looking for, was not good. I was not in a short, but thankfully, I don't know why and I said this to you, Ads, when we ran up from here, I was not necessarily looking at this structure as in terms of selling out, but we got to 10 to 50. And I saw the way the alts were reacting. We were holding up quite well, which we'll get into alts in just a second as well. And I was like pretty much 95% in USDT at that point. And then we had that dump, and I did pick some up around 9250 again, which I was pretty happy with. Was it 9250? I think it was 9280. I picked some up, and have sort of since been sort of just holding a little bit. I increased my BTC exposure a little bit from there because we came down and tested this macro downtrend line. And at the moment, got a lot of people talking about this formation. Let me just share it with you real quick. This diamond formation that
Yeah.
everybody's talking about. And we know that with this is a little rough, by the way, but we know with diamond formations, we're looking for the distance between the top and the bottom of the formation. And then what we look for is a break outside of this, whether to be to the downside or the upside. And then that length is our continuation distance, which if you do that, Ads, can you put that on your screen and just measure that move? I would imagine that looks pretty close to where we've got our supply and demand levels drawn there at the moment. If we were to break this,
So
let's
it's
sort of
roughly
say
that. And
from
then you've
this
got,
point.
from that point, it's, yeah, around that 10.5, 10.6 level. And if we head down, it's, at demand again. So look, that's an interesting one.
Yeah, and then we've also got this, which we've got this formation,
Yeah.
like a head and shoulders formation, which also kind of also looks like that middle finger formation that we spoke about in the past. I can't quite remember where it is that we had that. It was going back a couple of months ago now, where we had a very similar formation to this as well. So at the moment, it kind of is. Really, I would say from a leverage standpoint, this is a no trade zone for me. I did take a couple of little scalps, got stopped out twice. It didn't go my way. And that's why, as I said to the guys, our theme for last month was sort of simplicity. And this month's theme is really patience. And I need
Yeah.
to abide by that a little bit more. So I know that while I had been successful scalping in the past, that the screen time was too much and the checking the screens was too much for me. So now I'm simply just a buy on demand, sell at supply kind of guy. And that's really given me a lot of freedom to create content for UTG or engage inside our Discord. So really, for now, it's a little bit of a no trade zone for me. As I said, I am now probably heavier in USDT than I have been for quite a bit of time, because I'm really happy to do that. And the BTC value that I have there at the moment is for trading alts, the BTC pairs, because we've spoken about FBTC, which we'll get into in just a minute, and the leader of strength that we find that to be for the alts, which has been still very, very nice this week. That the alt trades and how they've held up against this BTC dump, particularly with coins that I've been heavy in lately, like ZIL, for example, and WTC, have held up really well against this BTC dump, which is giving me confidence of a continuation of this sort of mini alt season that we've been seeing. But we'll get to that in a minute. Ads, what are you seeing, man, on this at the moment?
Look, my thoughts have been well described in Discord, bro. I can tell you that very, very confidently. But I admittedly I did have this level of supply drawn in a little while ago, and if you look through some of the Discord history, you probably see it there where I had this level drawn in purple, and then our subsequent current level drawn up in blue. So I've added this back onto the chart because it is relevant at the moment, and very, very easily, it's very easy to see why this level is, because when we draw it from the left here, Ty, we have one rejection, two, and now number three, and I think for me, it's quite a significant level, 10-4. It's been rejected more than once, and every single time we have tried to retest this level, it's only been wicks that have entered this zone. No candle body closes at all. So that's quite significant in terms of how strong this level is in terms of short buyers or sellers, where we have when we come up and test this zone. If we throw it back on the 4 hour, we were quite heavily rejected, and we did close well below it, and not long after we did have that dump. So look, to me, it doesn't seem like this sort of scenario is likely right now, even though we could be, flagging up or, doing this upward wedge formation right now. Something like that. It's very rough. But yeah, something like that, where we could see further drops. But I'm honestly expecting, bro, this 8,800 level where we did bounce off this again to be tested once more, and we could probably find that it's going to make its decision on ultimate direction when we get there again, I think.
Yeah, and you'll see as well, we've kind of got this level which we're testing at the moment. If you do put your volume profile on there, which was 9483, where we have wick of, which was also the top of this wick from this level just here.
Yep.
We put our volume profile on there now. We can see where our point of control sits, and then we can see a pretty healthy gap down towards that sort of 850, 89 level at the moment. So right now, this point of control level is pretty significant. And while we do have this at the moment, like this very weak trend line, well, I guess it has been respected to a degree, but you can see it's a little bit sort of volatile and choppy. That if we don't hold this level, then obviously the next sort of significant levels are going to be 9.2 because of this fib level, and then I really don't see a great deal in the way standing between that and a retest of this demand here. So it's it's not looking phenomenal for BTC at the moment. The funding rate on BitMEX has just turned for the shorts. Not a massive indicator of which way that we go. That we do see that when we get very high funding rates to the upside for the longs, we get these dumps, and when we get very high or very low funding rates for shorts that are quite aggressive in their sort of the higher percent levels, we end up getting big spikes. So right now we're kind of flat on that. We need to have a little bit of a simmer, let things breathe a little bit, and then get an idea of direction. So at the moment, I'm not massively and actively trading Bitcoin. I'm enjoying these alt runs at the moment, which we'll get into in just a second. But for now, let's have a look at FUSD. And it was interesting because typically we've seen BTC being the leader of ETH, but we've seen a little bit of a reverse of that as of late, where we saw this triangle formation where FUSD broke to the upside. BTC was yet to do that. BTC has emulated it. And then now they're kind of both running very similar once again. But BTC with a nice, ETH rather, with a nice reaction off that demand zone at around 224. We're now sitting back below that 78 fib line at 246, which again is going to be the challenge. We can see to the left-hand side here where we've been rejected multiple times in the past, where we've retested that level and have sort of like fluttered a little bit in this kind of area, which we very much could do again and retest this EMA and this demand down the bottom here. So again, sort of just watching and waiting. If we look back historically, and we've spoken about it so many times, our custom steamroller indicator and how accurate it has been for bottoms and tops of moves. So again, now undeniably, we're getting a pretty oversold signal on ETH. And we saw this similarly in the past here, where we had this oversold condition on steamroller. We're getting it again now. And I remember about a week and a half ago saying to the guys in Discord, I'm like, hey, and we spoke about this last Thursday, where we had this this was an overbought condition. This is an oversold condition. We had this oversold condition on BTC, and it gave us the first green dot since I think it was March the 12th or February the 12th, we said last week. And sure enough, we had a run. So if you hadn't just bought on steamrollers signs, you would have done quite well. But even though we're getting this overbought condition on FUSD, it does not mean, and it has not yet printed this dot, which gives us a very strong confirmation of the trend being exhausted. We still could have a little bit of a move to the upside, being this 266 level, or again, we could sort of retest this 255 level before another move back down towards demand. So again, that's another reason why after the recent volatility that we've had in these last couple of daily candles, I'm not too keen at playing at leverage or scalping any sort of trades until I get a stronger idea of confirmation. I think when it comes down to leverage, like you'll talk to a lot of, particularly like FX guys, where they say, I just short or I just long. Like they long a position, they close at profit, and then they wait for another confirmation to long, and then they do that. And having that as a strategy in trading ETH or BTC or any pair, whether it be on Binance, on the futures market at leverage, is not a terrible idea. You can ride the trend, or you can wait for a confirmation and then ride a new trend or a reversal once it's occurred. So you don't have to be in a trade all the time. You don't have to be there revenge trading if you've lost money on a leverage trade and you got stopped out or liquidated, God forbid, whatever it might be. So enjoy this time. I've been using my afternoon to learn and to research, to watch some videos on some guys. Been talking to some people that we're talking to on the Trade Hacker podcast in the next couple of weeks. So, and just learning from new people, learning different things. I'm looking at order book volumes, and I'm looking at trend, like more advanced sort of trend indicators and signals at the moment that I'm diving into, and just enjoying the time off from being in front of the screen. So that's a very long-winded explanation of what I'm doing at the moment. But Ads, what are you seeing?
Very much like what you're seeing, Ty. Honestly, what I'm looking at right now is I'm looking at a couple of things with FUSD. We've got a major pivot point happening here, all right, where this level of the 78.6 Fibonacci retrace is it's very significant in terms of this level, which is obviously undeniable. But I'm seeing very much like you that it needs to break and really hold above this 78.6 if we're going to see this 88 or this 266 level. Because if we look here, we've got arguably a bearish divergence on the CCI. We're looking at the same sort of scenario on the RSI where we've got a double top, and then you're looking at price structure moving up from that double top on the CCI. Excuse me, RSI. So all signs to me, not all signs, but it is more favourable to, expect it to probably retest this 220, 223, 224 level where the MAs are currently at that demand zone where we did bounce off there. And if you do look at the 4 hour time frame, we're starting to see, this sort of formation happening also on FUSD alongside BTC. So whether or not that holds true remains to be seen. But looks like we're holding that 78 level quite heavily. The bears are defending that quite severely right now. Look, I do strongly think that we'll probably see that level again.
And this is a little bit more of a bit of a better
Yeah. Yep.
dive and pattern on this one. So
Yeah.
a little bit of a clearer signal than what BTC is telling us at the moment. And I'd be interested to look at our volume profile on that one as well and just sort of see where we're sitting currently.
Volume profile looking like down there at 208.20, just underneath our level.
Yeah, and very much the same thing again. So we know, and we've gone through and we've shared this with the guys quite extensively as well, being this sort of B formation that we get. So looking at where we are now, sort of at the top of this volume profile, we know that this is really the only thing holding us up from a pretty clear gap down towards these higher volume nodes. We know that price gravitates towards where the buy and sells are or where the volume is, and that would be pretty relevant with what we're seeing here again with that demand zone, or if you want to draw your trend lines or whatever it is, might work quite well or something like that. So we could have a pretty decent drop on our hands from here. So if you wanted to play it like that, then you certainly could. Looking at what we've got here on our CCI and RSI, trending back down towards the downside, we know that the 50 level for the RSI is a pretty significant level to hold when it comes to trends and giving us an idea of where we sit. We can see previously in the past here as well where we have been held up on the 50. So interested to see where that sits in the next sort of day or so. Wednesday morning, Thursday, we know, or Wednesdays and Thursdays bring a little bit of volatility. Last week we didn't see that so much. We were seeing it a little bit earlier, which we saw again this week as well. It was Wednesday morning as opposed to Wednesday evening or Thursday morning where we tend to get the volatility. We've seen it earlier this week. So it's it'll be interesting to see where the next couple of days play out on the majors.
Absolutely.
Cool. All right, let's have a look at FBTC because I want to talk about that. As I said a moment ago, we talk about F as a driver or a mover of the alt market. I exited all my positions on FBTC a couple of days ago. Unfortunately, I didn't get that exact top, but we ended up getting around 15.5% from where we shared our F trade. I think back on the 21st, I think it was.
Yeah.
It was around 21,000 sats at the time. We had our take profit levels and we bang on. That's where I took my final profit at that last level, which I think was around 24.7, I think it was.
Okay.
So it was a really nice run on FBTC. This descending broadening wedge, which Ads has got drawn up there, is very much like what I've got drawn up at the moment as well. Looking to see if we do get a test of this diagonal to see if we continue to the upside, but we can see the penetration that we've had there on the supply zones has not been overly deep, so it does lead me to believe that even if we were to move back towards the upside, we could get a brief retest of that supply zone before we head back down again. So looking at where our MAs are, we're just kind of sitting and lingering a little bit at the moment. A little bit of volatility which we had here as well on that would have been with that BTC and ETH. We saw a lot of alts pull back pretty aggressively. For me, that was a buying opportunity, and I said that in the Discord. I said these alts are looking right now with this huge big pullback. I admittedly bought quite a bit more ZIL and rode that up for a few percent and then sold out again. I'm not in any alt trades right now. because they are pumping, but they are dumping just as quickly on the ones that I'm looking at. So we had a couple of nice alt trades. One was CHZ. It ran for 34%. I got 17% out of that because I was following that altcoin strategy that we posted inside the Discord, where we look for pullbacks using the Fibonacci levels and how well they're respected. But at the moment, ETH kind of doing its thing as well. Putting the volume profile back on that adds to, if we could. Yeah, so again, a pretty significant drop if we weren't to hold this level here on our VPVR. Got a pretty decent gap down towards this next volume profile, and another pretty decent gap down towards. So this is this V formation that we talked about quite a fair bit as well in our volume profile sort of masterclass that we ran a few weeks ago for our guys inside Discord. So again, interesting times. I would be more inclined to put a short on here than what I am just here. We can see the reaction off here was okay for that little wick to the downside, but I don't think that will be a wick that signals a continuation of the uptrend. I think it's probably more so signaling a downtrend if I had to place a bet, which I'm not at the moment.
Perfect, bro.
Cool bananas. All right, let's just go to just very quickly. I'll share this with you. I shared this with our guys on Tuesday night inside the inner circle. We spoke about, or I spoke about for quite a long time, how I look at altcoin trades and how I look at altcoin setups. What works for me may not work for you. The proof is in the pudding. You can go to our Discord and see like 20 or 30 alt trades that we did at the beginning of the year, and probably got another 20 or 30 inside Discord that we've been actively trading over the last 3 or 4 weeks that have played out quite well. There's admittedly some losers in there as well. There's always going to be losers, but altcoins are sort of my bread and butter. And if we go to our heat coins list ads just under watch list, these are some of the altcoins that I'm looking at. One that I've been trading pretty actively at the moment is Algo. Algo. So right now on Algo, we're sitting at a pretty pivotal point because we've got little structure to the left-hand side. I'll just share my chart with you very quickly. I'll give you a little bit of what I'm looking at, but I'm not going to share too much because we'll keep that for the inner circle guys. Share this with you in here. I'll pop it in the chat. This is what I'm looking for on Algo at the moment. We can see where we're sitting right now on this level. It's a pretty significant level here. It's around 25, 28 sats. Looking for a potential retest and potentially a move above this 26.39 sat mark. And then my top target will be back up around towards sort of the 2989 mark. If we can kind of get there. Another one that I've been looking at ads as well and been trading pretty actively is ZIL.
Yep.
If we go to our charts, I'm not going to share too much about that because I'll leave that sort of for our guys. We got the buy back off this demand, or I got the buyback off this demand level. I said it was 135 is where I bought back in at, and I sold at 187. Which
near
was,
the top, man.
I was very, very close to that. I was talking to a couple of guys on Twitter that I follow quite a fair bit, and we had very similar targets. The top target I think was 201, and my target was 199 sats. But I saw when we had a little bit of weakness around that area, I got out. So ZIL is one that I'm actively trading pretty aggressively at the moment, and one more that I'll give you as well. If we go right to the very top of the Hitcoins list there, ads is CHZ that I'm looking at. So if we draw our, let me just refer to my chart real quick. And this has been a pumper and a dumper, and it is what it is, but
low sat.
Very low sat, yeah, very low sat. I'll share with you how I managed to get a bit of
this. So talking about I'm just going to get rid of a couple of things on the chart that I'm just sharing with our guys at the moment. So what I had on here, and again, this is all inside Discord where I share some of the content about how I look for pullbacks with alts that have had big runs. So I bought some off the 50, which was the 106 level. We saw that we wicked down perfectly from there. That couldn't have been any better from that point. And then I sold out at the 121 level because I was looking at how this has reacted in the past here to these wicks and this sort of level here. So that was a pretty nice little swing. I think it ended up doing 34 or 35% or something off the 50 level there. But for the guys that haven't seen that part in Discord, what I'm doing and what I'm finding plays out really, really well. Swing low to swing high of a previous pump, looking at the 38 and the 50 levels for buy-ins. Yeah. And admittedly, sometimes I'm probably going a little bit more aggressive than what I should, but I'm just seeing this formation play out so often that we get pretty immediate reactions off obviously a trend line, and the 50 has been a really, really nice buy. I said to one of our guys in Discord the other night, I charted up OMG, and I said to one of our guys, I said, hey, this is a high risk trade. I'm not entering it. But looking at OMG off the 50 is a really nice pickup. And it was like, no, I don't think that's really going to happen after that run that we had after the Coinbase listing. Well, sure enough, it did 13% off the 50. So even coins that have had really, really high amounts of exposure and volume and trade activity are still respecting that 50 and 38 sort of little mini pump that we're getting off those significant Fibonacci levels. So don't discount that. If a coin has pumped, and even though your indicators are looking oversold, you can use that strategy along with your own TA to make decisions on where you might like to enter. But for me, that's been a really killer strategy for getting something that I may have missed. So that's a little bit of free alpha for you tonight here on the stream. But for me, that's it. I'm done. We're going to go. We have an FX masterclass that we're sharing with our Discord guys at the moment that we're releasing in the next couple of days. So we're going to go finish that up and then, back to the trades.
Perfect.
Thank you for joining us. We'll see you on Thursday. Or even though we sort of officially released it a couple of weeks ago, our interview with Crypto Says goes out on Twitter tonight as well. And then next week we're talking to Credible Crypto, who is one of the OGs that I followed for a very long time. Who's going to show us a few Elliott Wave strategies. Secondly, to Satoshi Heavy, who we've spoken to as well, who's going to show us some more deep dives into to Elliott Waves in the next few weeks as well. But in the next fortnight, we're releasing our interview with Brent from Blockchain Blitz, who is an ICO advisor, who also gives us a bit of a video masterclass and rundown on how he uses volume profiles and session volume, which really got me into using this VPVR and everything that we're using with quite a bit of success at the moment. So Crypto Says tonight. We'll do Brent from Blockchain Blitz in a fortnight, and then we'll release our chat with Credible Crypto the fortnight after that. So a stacked lineup of guests coming on the Trade Hacker podcast, which you can find at unitytradinggroup.com/podcast.
Looking forward to it.
Perfect. All right, guys. Have a great night. Stay safe, and see you soon.